Alright, guys and ghouls, it has been a few weeks since we've got this 77 Formula Firebird running and back on the road. And we ultimately decided to pull the engine and do some work to it. So yeah, this is what this episode is going to be about. So here's a good look underneath of her. It is about as rotted as you would expect. Here is the damage from the wheel loss. Bottom of the control arm and shock is a little worn, and the dust shield for the rotor folded over and was ground through, and also I don't know if you can see in there, well, there's a flat spot on the rotor right there. I can get a light here. Where's my light? Yep, right there. There's a flat spot on the rotor. But other than that, that's all the damage that happened from that. If you saw that episode, I would highly recommend checking it out. Driving this thing home, this wheel decided to leave the chat. Typical Pontiac oil leaks. Body mounts are somewhat mounting. Floor pans, as expected. Fuel lines completely rotted, but these frame rails back here are scaly, but they look structurally okay. So we'll just say it's okay. Pretty bad hole there. Rockers are okay, surprisingly. Another bad body mount. See the floor mat there. So yeah, we're gonna pull the motor and the trans in one unit, hopefully, and we're gonna clean it all up, put some parts on it, throw it back in. Jeff drained the fluids while I was off somewhere doing something very important. Definitely not sleeping under my desk, that is a fact.
Not under his desk sleeping, that's a fact.
Dropped the diff fluid, and these spider gears do not look the greatest. Look at that pitting in there. See if I can zoom in. That is terrible. I was not expecting this rear end to be an open diff for one, and two, to be in this horrible condition, but look at that play. Oh, get out of the light. Look at the play in those spider gears. Eef. I think this thing's probably got a couple more burnouts left in it, and she's gonna grenade, so that is gonna have to get addressed in the future, but we're just gonna ignore it, put fluid back into it, and act like it's fine. Onto the fuel tank. It's the Swiss cheese model. See, I can almost put my finger through there, and it's pretty much almost removed itself at this point.
Yeah, I don't know how it didn't fall on the way here.
Yeah.
Can you see where it's hanging on?
Oh my god. What mount? Oh geez. Well, we have a new fuel tank. Right, well, new to me, used fuel tank that'll work. That we're gonna drop into it at some point, because we're gonna need fuel capacity. We plan on driving this thing as much as we can. So yeah, that's the scam for that. As far as parts, we got calipers, pads, rear wheel cylinders, thermostat, rubber brake lines, hood pins. We have a door latch to fix the driver door, spark plug wires, and what I've been withholding from you guys. So we got a dual carb Wenzler Gutsram Tunnel Ram with a set of nice valve covers to match the dual carb air cleaner. Now there's a guy right in Wisconsin here. I'm drawing a blank on the city. I'll drop a link in the description. He makes these all custom. He specializes in Pontiac performance. He does heads, all kinds of stuff. So check that website out. Like I said, I'll drop it below. No sponsorship or anything like that, just putting it out there. This is what we're using. We ended up getting this tunnel ram from a guy we met on Facebook Marketplace. Picked up a car from him and we're telling him about this unit, and he said, hey, I have parts for that motor. And we said, yep, immediately, and took that home with us. So yeah, that is what's going on the Pontiac 350. And yes, that is a 350. I was incorrect in my first video. It is stamped. Oh, I need my light. It is stamped 350 right there, if I can focus. Yep, 350. Which is fine. It's a torquey little motor, just enough to have fun with it. Like I said, we're not going to be racing this thing or doing a full resto. We're going to pull the motor, make it nice and clean. Somewhat of a sleeper, but how can it be a sleeper with 2 carburetors sticking out of the hood? So yeah, we are going to get to work here, getting this whole drivetrain engine pulled out. Stay tuned. Okay, a little progress update. That is probably the worst U-joint I have seen. Probably consider replacing that, if it's in the budget. Awesome shirt, by the way. All right, proceed. Okay, we got drive shaft out. Before we proceed any further, decided to switch gears. We're gonna pull the hood and we're gonna remove everything from up top, and then we'll put it back up in the air, drop exhaust, cross member, and then we should be able to yank this thing out of here like a rotten tooth. All right, progress update. Got everything ready up here, we think. I don't think we're gonna have to pull, or at least I hope we don't have to pull the harmonic balancer pulley and water pump. Hoping we have enough room here, but we will see. I think we're gonna put her up in the air, motor mounts, cross member, exhaust. Should be ready to drop out. All right, we got motor mount bolt there, exhaust manifold there and there, and then this cross member, 2 bolts here, 2 bolts there, and 1 in the center there. And yeah, we'll probably put a ratchet strap from here to here on the subframe to hold the transmission from falling. And then once we set it on the ground, we'll put a jack under it. and then we can fish it out and be done. Well, now we are ready to hook up the old cherry picker, lift this thing out of here. I don't think we're forgetting anything, but now's the time where we're gonna find out. So yeah, here we go. Make sure nobody's looking, and go. And go. All right, as you can see, that was successful. Didn't forget to unhook anything except for the coolant temperature sender unit, which is fine because we're going to be replacing that anyway. We're going to soak this puppy down with some degreaser and power wash it, and then we will divorce the transmission from the engine and put the engine on a stand, blow that apart. When Jeff dropped the oil, it looked suspiciously milky. It kind of looked like Nesquik. So once we pull the pan, we're going to determine if we're going to put head gaskets in it.
There's what, 15 miles on it?
Yeah, we put the oil in, and we put probably less than 15 miles on it, and it already looked milkshaky. So that is not a good sign. I'd hate to put that awesome tunnel ram on there just to have the head gaskets not gasketing. So, that being said, we're going to put her on the GoPro and power wash this thing off. Our engine and trans are as clean as I can get it without removing more parts. I'm gonna let that dry for a while, and then we'll start blowing her apart. Jeff has the engine bay all nice and cleaned up. Gonna let that dry for probably 2 days or 2 weeks, more like it. And then we'll get a nice coat of paint on the entire engine bay. At least clean up a little bit. So yeah, it's looking good, good progress. Looking forward to getting some paint on this engine though. We got some of this motor coater. We got the entire kit, prep kit. No sponsorship, just what we're trying out. First time using motor coater. So see how that turns out. We got light blue metallic, or Pontiac light blue metallic is the color we're going with. I know in 77 they went from the light blue metallic over to GM corporate blue, but we're gonna go with the light blue metallic. I think it'll look nice on the intake and black valve covers. All right, we are going to move on to dropping the fuel tank, which looks like it's going to be a pretty easy job. This mount has already completely disassembled itself over time, and this one is about the same. We could probably just yank on this thing and it's going to fall right out. Wow. Well, that was the fastest fuel tank removal ever. As you saw, Jeff just literally breathed on this strap here and gave her a little tug, and you know, I think we could almost reuse this, except for, you know, this spot right here is going to be an issue, if you know what I mean. Wow. That takes the cake on worst fuel tank we've seen.
Well, look at that. There.
Huh. Well, the fuel tank sacrificed itself to save some of the trunk pan. So thank you for your service, I guess. But yeah, this is exactly why we're that's coming out of your paycheck. This is exactly why we're not restoring this thing. We're just gonna put it back on the road and have fun with it. And then down the road, maybe we'll sell it for parts, or somebody else can take it over and they can do a rotisserie restoration, spend their life savings on it. So yeah, that super easy. And we're gonna have to make some new straps for the new tank, because we're not just gonna throw it in the trunk. We want that trunk space for the body, car parts and cargo. All right, guys and ghouls, it is the next day. I'm giving you a little progress update. We got the engine bay cleaned and painted. We got the motor and transmission separated, and I have some parts sandblasted and painted. I had Jeff run through here, clean it up nice, just fog it with some epoxy chassis paint. Turned out pretty nice, doesn't look so rotten anymore. And the engine, I did pull the manifolds off. Managed to snap one bolt off in the head, so that's gonna be a task to get that out. I'm hoping I have luck with the old weld a nut on there trick, but we'll see. Had to use the gas axe here to heat up the flanges on the head to get a lot of them out without snapping. Got pretty lucky except for that one, but engine's all cleaned up, looking pretty nice. I'm gonna start tearing into it. Transmission didn't clean up all the greatest, but that's fine, you don't see that anyway. Got some bracketry and pulleys and the cross member here fogged with some black. Cooling fan extender painted to match the engine. Everything else is going to be blacked out. Decided to throw that little bit of blue in there just to kind of take away or make it pop a little bit in the engine bay. So yeah, that's the status report as of right now. We're waiting on parts. So the passenger side manifold, as you can see here, it's got a big crack in it. Sadly, goes all the way around, and somebody back in the old day did a piss poor attempt at a repair, which worked because it didn't leak at all, but that's not going to fly. And I don't want to have to buy a set of headers for this thing because we're trying to, be on a budget here. As cool as headers would be, that means we're going to have to change the exhaust, which I don't want to do. And we're not sponsored by anybody. We're just two guys that love working on cars, making YouTube videos. So we're trying to be budget friendly here. So I'm on the hunt for passenger side manifold. Got a couple guys looking right now for me. But hopefully I can find something, or else we're going to be way over budget, even more than we already are. So yeah, that's where we're at. We will see you when I'm ready to start tearing that guy apart and see what other problems we're going to have. Great. All right, guys and ghouls, it has been a couple days. I'm still waiting on some parts. So in the meantime, I'm going to rip off the water pump here, harmonic balancer pulley, timing cover. We're going to want to replace the timing chain and gears because Pontiacs are very notorious for having those fail, and we don't want to do that. So yeah, I'm going to pull the front cover off, fuel pump, valve covers, intake manifold, blow this thing apart, and we might even pull the heads off and do head gaskets right away. You know, we're this far into it, we might as well. So that being said, I'm going to get to her. Oh, the water pump doesn't look too half bad. And this plate here is notorious for rotting out too, and that's actually in really good shape. But we're gonna replace the water pump either way. It's like somebody put household silicone on here. Unreal. If you guys are ever working on something, don't do that. Just don't. Okay, so what I just did there, I set the engine to top dead center, put the mark right at 0, and I put my finger over the #1 cylinder once I felt compression. That's an indicator that you're coming up on the compression stroke, which tells you you can set it to top dead center, so we can pull out the distributor and we know where it's going to have to go back in at top dead center. Now I'm going to get this harmonic balancer, harmonic balancer pulled off, get the timing cover off and see how bad this timing chain set is. Well, they put a hefty bolt in these old Pontiacs. All right, got all them bolts out. We got 4 13mm bolts on the oil pan lip here to remove, and this should theoretically pop off. Looks like it got the same silicone treatment as everything else, so we'll see. No wonder it leaked. Nope, those are 12s, not 13. Oh, that was not even tight. That one was. And that one was not tight either. I wonder why this thing leaks so much. Oh. Oh wow, that was almost too easy, like suspiciously easy. But look at this. Hey, we don't have to change this at all. It's already got a double roller with lower-ish miles on it. Look at there's hardly any slop in there. Ha! Saving money already. Well, at least they did that right instead of going with the single chain setup. Awesome. All right, well, I guess we'll start in the old intake. All right, got the intake bolts out. Some of them are pretty hammered. So a good trick is to get these little bolt and nut extractors. They're made to be pounded on, and the teeth in there bite onto the head of the rounded bolt, and it actually gets them out 99.9% of the time. All right, hopefully I don't throw my back out, because these intakes, the Oldsmobile, Buick, and Pontiac intakes are like, I swear they're like 200 pounds, man. Oh, this one ain't too bad. The one off my Cutlass is ridiculous. That one's not bad at all. Okay, there's mouse house number 13. As you can see, it's got a valley cover here, and yeah, that just got fully taken over. Sign the lease, lock it in for 18 years, mouse house. We're gonna get rid of that, pull these valve covers off. The push rods seem to look pretty darn clean, so that's a good sign so far. But I'm gonna pull these valve covers off and keep on tearing this puppy down. Wow. Surprisingly / suspiciously clean in here. Reeks of gas. I wonder if the fuel pump was leaking gas into the oil. Might explain why it was so milky looking. Oh, that one was loose. Again, very, very clean. Huh. Not complaining though. One of the things you don't want to see is everything covered in like milkshakey, greenish, brownish, frothy oil. That's a dead indicator of failed head gasket and neglected oil changes, stuff like that. But sitting 18 years in a barn the way it was, very happy to see this. Usually these are all flash rusted and just not good, but it is looking very good here. Very pleased to see all this. I think we'll move on to the distributor. and the valley cover. Oh. Okay. Not sure if that's supposed to be open to the elements, but looks like it rotted through, and it was in fact dropping into the engine. So I am glad we did not run this thing very long, because this thing probably would have ate the cam and a lot of other things with it. But we're gonna keep treading on and pretend like everything's okay. Yeah. I'm glad we tore this down now, because we would have killed this engine for sure. So now I'm gonna have to hunt down a valley pan cover, which I don't know how hard that's gonna be to find, but hopefully not too bad, because this is kind of detrimental. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and take the mouse house deleter here and suck out as much of this as I can. And then when we spin the engine upside down to get the oil pan off, I'm gonna hose this down with some brake clean. Get as much of this contamination out of here as possible. And just fingers crossed we didn't hurt anything already. All right, now we can pull this massive oil pan off, and hopefully there's not a mouse house laying on the bottom of the pan. Ooh. And the verdict is, ooh, no mouse house, but got some sludge. A lot of that could have been from me power washing under the intake. Probably blasted a bunch of water in here, but yeah, it looks to me, you can see all this, can you see this on camera? Oh. You can see here, is that milkiness? It reeks like gasoline, and it's mainly concentrated here. And what's right here? Fuel pump. So I'm thinking the fuel pump seals failed, which is very common in these old mechanical pumps, and fuel was leaking into the crankcase. So I don't think we have bad head gaskets. Like I said, this just reeks like fuel. And if it were coolant, it would be more of a greenish milkshakey type dealio, if you know what I mean. Oh, what a mess. All right, guys and ghouls, Operation Ramrod engage. Already ran into some problems. So as I said earlier, this is a Larry Wenzler edition Gutsram Tunnel Ram. He custom makes these out of Oak Creek, Wisconsin, near Milwaukee. And these are really nice intakes from what I've seen online after you can get them to fit. So unfortunately, it requires a good amount of machining to get these to fit properly, but once you do, they're supposed to be the best out there for the money. These are roughly $370-ish, just under $400 for this. So cost to machining ratio, I mean, it's still kind of a good deal depending on how much your machine shop's going to charge you. Let me show you why we need to have this machined. As you can see, it is sitting way too high. Way too high on the heads because the mounting flange here needs to be milled down. Additionally, well, let's take this top off here. Stay. As you can see, if I can get a light in there properly, the ports do not line up at all. Well, they line up, but you can see that the intake is just way too high. I've been researching hard on all the forums and stuff on these intakes, and everybody says 99% of the time they have to be taken in to get milled down. And then you also have to tap the 4 outside corner bolt holes. You have to drill and tap the heads to accommodate the wider bore, or the chamber, if you will, on these intakes. He extends the bolt hole out this way so we can make a larger chamber. So once this is planed or milled down and into place, then we have the task of drilling and tapping these heads, which from the looks of it, when you take the intake off, there's not a whole lot to bite into. I'll pull it off and show you why. Alright, I got the intake off. Now this is the one that does not line up. This one, this one, this one, that one. So when the intake is moved, or the bolt hole is moved out from here to over here. So you don't really have a whole lot to freaking drill and tap into in this cast. Granted, it does go all the way back here, but that is very worrisome. But none of the guys I've seen online or read about online have had any issues tapping these heads. It's getting these flange surfaces on the manifold milled down. But none of them say there's any issues with tapping into this cast here. So, this is all brand new to me, so I'm learning just as you are. But either way, that manifold is going on this engine. I don't care. We're not building it for racing. People are probably going to say, hey, you're wasting your time. Why are you putting that awesome racing intake on here if you're not going to jam a cam in there or bore it out, blah, 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 make it hit 10,000 RPMs. I don't care about that because it's going in this rust bucket. It's just for fun. Plus, it's not your money. It's mine. So take that to the bank and save it. It's just money. You know, I can make more money every day. If I want to waste it getting that intake machine and put on here just to put way too much CFM into it, I will, because that's my choice, my money. Anyway, I'm going off on a tangent here. Either way, a little bit of a fitment issue. I haven't seen any YouTube videos on this at all, like walkthroughs. I'm going to do my best to show you guys what needs to be done because these intakes have been around for quite a while, the late 90s, early 2000s. And I'd like to at least help somebody out because I was scratching my head for hours and hours researching, trying to figure out if I had the wrong heads or, you know, is this even going to work on this Pontiac 350, which everywhere I look, all the intakes and stuff are interchangeable. And Wenzler does supply aluminum custom heads that are already ported to that massive chamber size to match that intake. But you're talking $1,300 and just heads. Well, if I'm going to do that, I might as well get a cam and I might as well just rebuild the whole thing. And we're going to be into it, you know, $6-7 grand to put in that car that's worth $1,500, $2 grand. You know what I mean. So that being said, I'm going to have to get in contact with my local machine shop. I'm asking around buddies to see if they have any friends that have a milling machine to mill that down. because we're trying to keep the cost down, but I also want it done right. So if I can find somebody that can do that for me at a fair price, that would be awesome. But either way, this intake is going to go on. And believe me, when I dropped that on here and saw that none of that lined up, my heart sank. I was big sad because I have been dreaming of having this intake on here for months, ever since we bought it. So it's going to happen. It's going to take some time, but it's worth it. All worth it. But there's a little status update on Project Ramrod. I'll update you when we get it back from the machine shop. And yeah, eventually we're going to drop it in there and cut a hole in that hood over there. That's going to be the exciting part. Since we're waiting on getting stuff machined, I'm going to go ahead and get the block painted up. So we're going to go with some motor coater. And I bought the entire kit with the degreaser, the rust blast, and of course the paint, and it came with thinner in case you want to spray. I've already went ahead and done the timing cover, and as you can see, brushing it on with this metallic, there's a lot of brush marks. So I think I'll do the first coat brush on nice and thick, and then if I don't like it, I'm going to go ahead and put some reducer in here and spray it on, just kind of fog it, blend in those brush marks so it looks nice and good. So I'm going to set her up on a tripod and I'm going to start brushing this on. All right, first coat down. Not looking too bad, honestly. Brushing it on, it went on very well. I don't think I'm gonna have to go ahead and spray it. The brush marks don't really bother me because, you know, the casting is all textured anyway, so I think we'll brush a second coat on it after this sets and we'll be good to go. Awesome, actually. I want to get a little preview here. I'm going to cheat. Ho 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 ho. Oh yeah. 100% approve of that. Black on blue or blue on black. Match on the fire, if you know what I mean. Okay, well, I think that's all I'm going to record for now. I'm going to give an update when we are able to get that tunnel ram machine and fitted to the engine properly. Alright guys and ghouls, I think I'm going to cut this episode here. I have to bring the engine into a machine shop with the intake so they can properly machine it to fit this engine specifically. I just don't want to take chances on bringing it there, them taking off, you know, a couple thousands, bringing it back, it still doesn't fit, you know, I'm just spending money and wasting their time, blah, blah, blah. So, with that being said, you guys like this episode, I appreciate you watching, you know, please subscribe, give it a like, comment, tell me what I did right, tell me what I did wrong. I'm open to constructive criticism. But yeah, in the meantime, we're going to do some brake work, fuel tank, fuel lines, stuff like that off camera. And once I get the engine back from the machine shop, I am going to record some more footage. So once again, appreciate you watching. Catch you in the next one.